And welcome to the Outsystems session here at the Enterprise Integration Summit, where we'll learn about a modern app and infrastructure platform that is enabling an entirely new level of productivity and creativity, infused with AI, of course. Our speaker this morning is Ed Avisa, Senior Solutions Architect at Outsystems. Ed, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Vance. Good to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have Ed with us this morning. He educates companies on how modern app platforms, including infrastructure, can support AI workflow apps with low-code and even no-code prompts. He brings a holistic view of app architecture, which is going to be on great display this morning for not only rapid app development, but app delivery and deployment. And he has 20 years of expertise across many of these top technologies. It all comes together in his session From Zero to AI Ready, Building Infrastructure That Scales with Low Code. You know, app architecture and agile infrastructure for AI is converging into a very exciting space these days, and we are pleased to have Ed with us this morning to explore a fully cloud-native infrastructure requiring zero setup that gets you ready for the new-gen AI apps. Quite a cool agenda this morning. Ed's going to review the ingredients of a modern platform architecture needed to support AI-driven app development. We'll even go out of the covers to see Outsystems' new AI Mentor app generator technology, which lets users generate and customize apps without coding. All they need is just a few clicks or prompts, or even uploading requirements documents is all it takes. And because seeing is believing, we're going to get a great demo. Just a quick reminder, you can download today's slides. Click the big red button on the view screen. You'll get them right away. You'll also see some other valuable downloads and even access to a free trial, all available just one click away. So we invite you to take a look at those during the session. And to add a question, just type in the submit a question box. We'd love to have you interact with our speakers. So Ed, great lineup, great agenda. Let's hear now about From Zero to AI Ready.
Thanks, Vance. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate the intro. So Outsystems is a full stack, full lifecycle application development platform that utilizes a low-code approach to increase developer productivity by up to 5 to 10 times over building with traditional code. Our platform is built to integrate with any database, any enterprise system, and any API out of the box. We've infused our entire product line with AI mentors that guide developers, reduce errors, power the CI/CD process, and enable our customers to not only infuse their applications with AI agents, bots, and generative AI models, but to generate full applications using our app generator mentor from full sets of requirements. Our mentor system is hosted on our platform as a service built on AWS technology, which is tuned for security, availability, and high performance. Outsystems is built to enable our customers to leapfrog their initiatives for cloud modernization throughout their organization. Key tenets of our philosophy are to provide intelligent infrastructure that empowers customers to embed integration capabilities across the enterprise and accelerate innovation without adding technical debt to their list of ongoing challenges. So what is cloud native? Cloud native is an approach to building and hosting applications that use cloud computing technologies to build, deploy, and manage those applications. Cloud native apps are designed to take advantage of the cloud's scalability, flexibility, and resiliency using containers and orchestration tools like Kubernetes. Cloud native applications are built from the ground up to take advantage of cloud technologies and use techniques like microservices, containers, and immutable infrastructure. Outsystems Developer Cloud, or ODC, is designed to take our customers from zero to AI ready by providing you with a powerful, secure, reliable, and highly performant cloud-native infrastructure hosted on AWS. ODC utilizes modern authentication and a microservices loosely coupled and event-driven architecture. Kubernetes provides auto-scaling on demand, and the platform services are segregated from your application's runtime environment. Security is built in from the ground up, and we offer open telemetry so you can use your favorite analytics tools to understand your application's performance, availability, and other important metrics. Research has shown that enterprises modernizing to cloud-native infrastructure, software development, and software delivery may need to invest up to 18 months of labor at a cost of up to $5 million to complete their digital transformation. Going cloud-native on your own is not cost-effective for most organizations. Outsystems Developer Cloud is cloud native out of the box. The hardware and infrastructure, AI capabilities such as AI agents, and our Mentor app gen and app edit solutions using natural language are all hosted on our highly secure AWS infrastructure, giving your team the power to build cloud native applications for any form factor, whether desktop, laptop, tablet, or smartphone, on a fully cloud native platform. Here's a high-level view of the ODC architecture. We've designed the platform to be cloud agnostic. While the product is currently only available on AWS, customers will be able to choose which cloud provider they would prefer, and they'll also have the ability to use more than one cloud if necessary. We will even offer the ability to deploy apps to your own self-managed public or private cloud. Another factor is that the platform is multi-tenant. Multi-tenancy is favorable for customers because it allows multiple teams to work independently and in parallel, which is essential for continuous integration and efficient software development. It also ensures that resources are scalable and isolated, providing enhanced security and performance. This setup helps in managing different stages like development, test, and production separately, ensuring that each stage is secure and scalable. The ODC architecture also keeps the multi-tenant platform services segregated from customers' runtime environments, ensuring that the platform will provide reliable services to customers while providing secure and isolated deployment of their applications. The platform takes advantage of many cloud-native services, including a web application firewall, or WAF, for security, a content delivery network, or CDN, for global content distribution, multiple application load balancers, as well as a secrets management vault and key management solution based on AWS services. Each platform service is an API-driven .NET Core 6 microservice that runs in a Linux container managed by Kubernetes. This means that any functionality the platform provides is available via API, and each API is versioned, allowing for seamless upgrades. The platform stores its data in a per-tenant Aurora Postgres database that automatically scales as needed based on load. Configuration settings are stored in the DynamoDB NoSQL database, and packaged Outsystems language model files, also called OML files, are stored in an AWS S3 repository rather than in the application database. The runtime is tenant isolated by namespace and separated into multiple stages, one for each stage of the development lifecycle, such as development, test, and production. Each stage is also isolated from the other stages, meaning that you won't be able to accidentally change data in the testing stage from the development stage. While the compute capabilities in these stages are multi-tenant in nature, the tenants are isolated from each other by using Kubernetes namespace network isolation, and each application is deployed into its own container in order to reduce any noisy neighbor resource consumption issues. We deploy a CDN in front of these applications to decrease latency as much as possible by bringing the content closer to your end users. The runtime stages also benefit from using Aurora Serverless for the database, which provides automatic scaling. We host ODC in numerous AWS regions globally and plan to offer additional regions for the platform in the future for those of you who have specific data residency requirements. One benefit this also provides is that you can choose to have the platform region close to your developers, for example in Frankfurt, while choosing to have the runtime region close to your end users, for example in the United States. Using containers, the Outsystems Developer Cloud will automatically provide vertical and horizontal scaling without any setup or configuration on your part as a customer. As the resource needs of an application increase, additional instances of the application will be deployed to handle increased load, with traffic automatically being load balanced based on availability. The automatic scaling will occur based on pre-configured CPU and memory thresholds. Scaling horizontally is done by adding new instances across availability zones, which will provide additional fault tolerance in the case of an availability zone outage or failure. Automatic scaling is not just limited to application compute, because the database will also scale up and down based on load, since we're using Aurora Serverless. Production apps benefit from a read replica deployed to a different availability zone to provide in-region failover by default. Using Aurora Serverless, data is automatically replicated to multiple availability zones, and in the future, we plan to offer multi-region support as well. Securely accessing private data that's on-prem or in your own infrastructure behind a firewall is a key requirement for most customers utilizing cloud technologies. Outsystems supports secure enterprise connectivity in ODC with our secure gateway technology. The complexity of a multi-tenant cloud-native platform means that we can no longer utilize traditional VPN in order to connect securely to your on-prem environment due to the limitations of legacy technology and shared infrastructure. Instead, we've designed a solution that's quick and easy to set up and doesn't require complex configuration. It also ensures that tenants remain isolated and provides fine-tuned control over what data is accessible by your applications. This cloud-native solution consists of two different parts. The first part is the ODC Secure Gateway, which is a lightweight service that runs in your Outsystems tenant and is managed by Outsystems. The second part is the ODC Cloud Connector, which is also a very lightweight Linux client that connects to the Secure Gateway service and establishes a fast TCP tunnel secured via SSH. This tunnel is then used to transport requests and data between the Outsystems Developer Cloud and your self-managed servers. A key aspect to point out here is that the ODC connector only requires outbound access to the internet, so no endpoints are exposed to the public internet, and to ensure that your data and your infrastructure is kept private. The identity service in Outsystems is a built-in IDP that utilizes the Amazon Cognito service and handles authentication and authorization for both platform services and your applications. It verifies that each HTTPS request comes from an authenticated and authorized user and uses JSON Web Tokens for secure sessions and identity validation. You also have the option to use an external self-managed OpenID Connect IDP as an authentication provider. This allows for centralized authentication across your organization with custom password policies and multi-factor authentication, among other benefits. This can be configured in the ODC portal by getting the required information from your identity provider and following the necessary steps to complete the configuration in the portal. Okay, so let's take a look now at Outsystems' approach to security in ODC. ODC handles edge and network security through various measures. The network architecture of ODC is designed to ensure secure communication between the platform services and your apps, and it incorporates technologies such as a CDN, WAF, NATs for Neural Autonomic Transport System, a load balancer, and transport layer security or TLS encryption. The CDN, which is globally distributed, ensures low network latency for routing requests and caches static files, reducing load times. The WAF, running on the CDN, protects against common web exploits and bots. NATs, a secure messaging system, handles internal requests between the platform and runtime stages to protect private endpoints, and load balancers route requests to target endpoints using the round-robin method for multi-tenant platform services and app containers. All requests are HTTPS and fully encrypted with TLS. The network architecture, again, isolates the data of each customer with namespace-isolated Kubernetes clusters running in each runtime stage. Requests to external data are routed through NAT gateways with public IP addresses. Security by design principles like defense in depth and the principle of least privilege are followed by Outsystems across our enterprise and all our applications to ensure a secure environment. ODC provides runtime security at the tenant level by ensuring that each organization's ODC runtime has isolated and independent stages. Network namespace isolation is implemented to ring-fence internal traffic within each stage, preventing access from one organization to another organization's data. Additionally, each stage has its own relational database, and network policies define the secure connections between the namespace and the database. This prevents apps or users from one org from connecting to another org's applications. And as previously mentioned, the runtime architecture uses Kubernetes clusters and NATs for secure messaging to handle internal requests between the platform and runtime stages. This architecture minimizes downtime and potential system disruptions by ensuring reliable handling of internal requests. The platform and runtime stages are designed to reduce the attack surface and are independent of each other, providing additional security. In ODC, vulnerability management processes and measures include multiple layers of security safeguards, adherence to security industry best practices, secure code and CI/CD processes, and regular reviews of security policies. Outsystems follows a robust approach to ensuring platform and application security and follows a secure by design methodology. The infrastructure and runtime stages are also designed with security in mind, incorporating measures such as network layer protection, encryption at rest and in transit, and intrusion detection. Static code analysis tools are used to detect vulnerabilities, and regular vulnerability scanning is performed on container images and deployed apps. Vulnerabilities are promptly addressed by OutSystems security engineers who release new versions of affected platform services or container images. Automated patching for known vulnerabilities is also in place based on severity to ensure applications remain secure. Now that we've reviewed the Outsystems Developer Cloud infrastructure in detail, let's take a look at how one of our key initiatives for delivering AI-assisted value to customers is going to change the way software is built. Introducing OutSystems Mentor. Mentor is the industry's first full SDLC digital worker that enables you to create and edit apps rapidly by using natural language, including by ingesting requirements documents. The app generator will create a complete application based on a user's prompt or by uploading a requirements file. AppGen capabilities include integration with external systems using our data fabric technology, and you can easily use retrieval augmented generation or RAG to enhance your app's capabilities. App Generator will create all the key components of your application, including UI, logic, and data models, and can even generate sample users and data for testing. The app editor component of Mentor allows business users or developers to continue using the intuitive, easy-to-use interface to modify the application by adding additional functionality, such as new tables or table attributes. You can even modify the screen designs easily from the editor to change the layout of screens, such as lists or dashboards. This allows users to iterate through various changes to determine the best approach and the best look and feel for the applications they're generating. Okay, so let's move on to the demonstration. For today's presentation, I'm going to share some highlights from a demo I recorded for YouTube to introduce OutSystems Mentor, App Generator, and App Editor. Here's a view of the OutSystems Developer Cloud console. As you can see, I can develop an application by using ODC Studio or IDE, or by clicking the With AI option. When I click With AI, Mentor comes to life. Now I can upload a specification for an order management system. I can also simply use a text prompt here, or I can upload a doc with a text prompt for additional context. Here's an example of the requirements document for our order management system, which includes information about required roles and permissions for users, tables needed for the database, and an entity relationship diagram for the tables. Using Mentor, I can also add text to the input box, so I'll ask it to change the theme to Skobelow color. When I click the Generate button, Mentor will generate the structure of an application and show us the tables that are available and the relationships among those tables and the screens that display them. This is where the App Editor comes into play. Let's say I want to change the name of the customer table to Account. I can click the name to edit, then type the word Account. And you'll notice as I do, I have the option to connect to different data sources in our environment that have tables named Account. OutSystems Data Fabric supports multiple connections throughout your enterprise. So in this case, I'm going to use the account field from our Salesforce instance so I can sync up with our CRM. For the rest of the fields in this instance, I'm just going to choose Generate with AI so I don't connect to tables in other applications. You can see that Mentor also generated user roles as per the requirements document, and we can edit and add to these as well. Now, once the app generation is completed, all the screens and screen relationships that were generated by Mentor are now available to you. So you can see that there are tables that have relationships with others. For example, the orders table and the orders detail table. The same with the suppliers, products, and other table entities. I want to make some changes to the order status table. You may have noticed that under order status, I have a few options, but I don't have approved or rejected, which makes sense for an orders workflow. So I'll add these options to the order status table. As you make changes in the app editor, you'll notice that Mentor will highlight changes with colored dots on the table overview on the right, so you can see the scope of what was changed. Finally, I'm going to add the shipping address to the orders table. Working with App Editor in this way allows you to iterate and make changes while you're working on your application to get the application configured the way you want it to look and feel and work. Once I'm finished with my changes, I can click the Publish button to build the application and push it to our production environment. Now, once the application is finished publishing, I can preview the application. And once we do a preview, we can see that we have a login screen with the sample users we created, and a nice looking dashboard will appear as our home page with a number of interactive widgets and graphs. You'll notice that there's a menu across the top as well, and we have screens for our orders that's sortable by status, as well as the suppliers table, the products table, option packages, and the accounts table. In Mentor App Editor, you can also change the screen designs right from within the web-based console. So for example, you don't need to display data in simple lists, as you can see from the options package screen. Now, the next thing I'd like to do in this example is open this application in ODC Studio, our IDE, so I can make some modifications and additions to the functionality of the app. As I mentioned, our vision is for AI and developers to work together to build better apps faster. So for this demo, I want to add some different functionality to this application. As we open the app in our IDE, you can see our dashboard and the development canvas. The ODC toolbox is in the left-hand pane with the widgets that you can use to build your screens. The output window and debugger is on the bottom, and then the context tabs on the right. In this example, I want to create an event that will get fired off whenever an order is created or updated in our systems that will call an AI agent to determine whether that order is approved or rejected. So as I create the order created event, I need to add a couple of input parameters. So I'm going to add the order ID and status ID input parameters here. And then once my event is built, my next step will be to create a service action as the event handler to set the order status once the order is completed. Now, the action flow I'll be working on here is that when an order is saved, the order create event will be fired, and the event handler will be this new service action called set order status. We'll need the same input parameters we create, so we'll need to create order ID and order status ID input parameters here as well. Now, the first step in my action flow is to get the order information from the database. As you can see, there's a blue plus sign in the action flow on the canvas. This is our code mentor AI that's built into the IDE, which will provide suggested next steps based on the context of my action flow. For my use case, I can simply select Get Order by ID because I want to get the current order that's being saved. Once I get my order from the database, I'm going to want to assign the order status ID that was passed into the event as parameters to this action as well. So I'm going to assign the value to the current order from the status ID that we passed in from the event. The assign widget actually allows you to do this very easily without using high code to set the values. And then finally, I'm going to call the update order CRUD operation that was built for us by Outsystems. And this update order will update the current order that we selected in the Get Order by ID aggregate above. Now, the last thing I'm going to need to do here is that I am going to put in the order create or update event a link to the event itself. So when an order is created or updated, order created event will be fired from this action right here. I'll pass the source ID to my order created event, and then we'll be able to pass that through the synchronous workflow system. When the button at the top, the one-click publish button is green, we can go ahead and publish our application. And once it's been published, we'll be able to reopen it to test it out. And we'll continue working on this from there. Now, this video will give you a taste of how Mentor and your developers can work together on building apps. If you'd like to see the full demonstration, I would recommend taking a look at the complete YouTube video that I've shared at the link at the end of the presentation deck. Okay, so moving on. Now, we've already discussed the ability for users to generate and iterate their apps using Mentor. Mentor also provides customers the capability to embed AI agents into their applications and to validate and maintain their applications by using our code quality mentors, such as the app architecture, maintainability, security, and performance mentors that review your work in real time to ensure high quality, secure, and highly performant applications that are built according to Outsystems best practices to prevent technical debt and ensure that your applications can grow and change as needed to keep your business on the cutting edge. Outsystems envisions a future where AI app generation and human developers work side by side to create and iterate applications. As Gartner has stated, AI will enhance developer productivity, but it isn't likely to completely replace the need for professional software developers. At Outsystems, we imagine a future where apps are generated from natural language inputs, such as plain text and requirements documentation. And once an app has been iterated through a number of changes using the App Editor AI, developers can run with the ball to use ODC Studio, our development IDE, to tweak and enhance the user interface components and designs, add additional integrations across the enterprise, and finalize complex applications with workflows and event-driven capabilities. Mentor is designed to update and disrupt the standard operating model of application development processes. By using Mentor App Gen and App Edit capabilities, customers can realize significant gains in their organization's productivity and their ability to deliver software functionality to their end users and customers. By using our Mentor technologies, you can reduce the lead time to first value and deliver fully baked applications in a fraction of the time it takes to build apps using traditional coding methods. Our early metrics are showing LTFV improving in some cases from a previous time to value of 10 days to an incredible time to first value realization in only 5 minutes. Finally, here is a high-level architecture overview of the Mentor system. As you can see, Mentor is built on and tightly integrated with our ODC platform technologies, providing you with a seamless experience that enables you to create enterprise-grade, cloud-ready applications in record time. Mentor is governed by the same security procedures and processes that enable Outsystems to deliver highly secure, beautifully designed, and highly responsive applications that will accelerate your organization's digital transformation initiatives and get you from zero to AI ready faster than you could ever imagine. With that, that concludes my demo and my presentation. So I'd like to turn it over to Vance to see if there are any questions.
Wow, Ed, very, very engaging. Thanks very much for an overview of Zero to AI Ready. Really jaw-dropping how many different features you've got there with not only the AI Mentor, certainly impressive, but also your very thoughtful approach to ways to improve and update my infrastructure for AI. So really great session. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you for the feedback.
You know, Ed, luckily for us, you've left us some time for some questions, and we've got a couple here that go both to the architecture as well as the day-to-day use cases. So with your permission, let's go to some questions.
That sounds great.
You know, let's talk about pipeline and your support for CI/CD. It just seems like you're really doing a lot to modernize that as well. Walk us through how Outsystems Developer Cloud supports low-code or AI during design time, but also in pre-deployment and launch. It just seems like you've got a lot going on across the pipeline.
Yeah, absolutely. So OutSystems has been embedding AI capabilities into our platform for decades, literally. I mentioned in the demo that the Code Mentor, for example, helps your developers in the IDE itself by providing suggestions that are context sensitive so that a developer can click on that little plus sign that I showed in the action flow, and it will provide you 4 or 5 different suggestions. Now, as in my case, one of the suggestions was spot on and perfect for that particular scenario. We implement AI as well in our CI/CD processes. So when you're pushing applications from one stage to the next, we do quality control checks on the containers themselves before they're pushed to the next level. And then we use AI to orchestrate and coordinate the deployments. So AI is really not only something we integrate with, but it's really built into and deeply embedded part of the actual platform itself.
Yeah, it's really a great holistic view of looking at bringing AI together across the entire pipeline. Let's go to the really exciting AI Mentor. I got a question or comment here, and it says, the AI Mentor seems to offer many benefits beyond traditional visual app builder, especially with visibility into my underlying infrastructure and making suggestions on how I can be sure my task will perform. I know it's early days, but what are the architects or developers that are adopting AI Mentor telling you about how it affects their day-to-day operations, as well as maybe some of their planning for apps?
That's a great question, Vance. I really appreciate that one. So right now we're in the early access programs. Mentor is not generally available to the public yet. We have a few customers that are kicking the tires, you might say, and exploring it. Feedback has been phenomenal. We have some customers that are experiencing mind-boggling results because they can go in and submit a requirements document, as I showed you in the demo, and have it generate an application within minutes. And then a professional development team can take that application and chop it up into pieces and build modularly, because OutSystems supports a modular development approach so people can work together on different pieces and parts of the applications. So the AI Mentor is accelerating productivity for our EAP customers incredibly at this point. We're getting some really positive feedback. They really love our approach. A lot of customers will say, well, I can always just use a Copilot from GitHub or something like that. That's true, but OutSystems give you the added advantage of being able to generate for a low-code platform, so that when you're handed an AI-generated application, you don't have to go digging through a bunch of Java code or C# code to figure out what you need to do next to improve the application or make it better or make it more functional for your organization. You have the power of ODC Studio at your fingertips, where you can see all the changes that you'll need to make. You can see what was generated for you, and that, I think, is our secret sauce to really providing productivity and speed to market for customers. So we're getting some tremendous feedback so far.
Yeah, and I can tell how excited you are about it. In fact, just listening to your comment here, Ed, and putting it together with the demo, without pushing the envelope too far, it does seem as though, because you're not just a regular Copilot that's not aware of my infrastructure, but you're actually situationally aware of my individual infrastructure, I could really use AI Mentor to really beef up my rapid prototyping approaches, I would assume, right?
100%, 100%. And Vance, it's funny that you bring that question to the table, because one of my thoughts as I've been working with Mentor, and even during this presentation today, I was thinking I'm a solution architect on the pre-sale side. So I work with customers before they're a customer in general. And I have to do demos. I have to create demos. I have to follow up with proof of concepts. This is going to make my life massively easier, because I can use Mentor to generate customized demos based on use cases that customers share with me. I can use this to build proof of concepts for customers in a much more rapid and streamlined approach. So yes, I think you're absolutely right. We take a holistic approach and use AI across the entire platform, including embedded in the applications and the tools themselves.
It's really awesome. And now that the vision and roadmap is out there, let's get into some of the more gnarly details. Here's a question I thought that you might be able to answer too. We love the seamless integration that you're able to show between data and app services or processes. How easy is it for us to integrate Outsystems Developer Cloud with our existing systems or databases?
Yes, that's a great question, Vance. Integrating has always been a key benefit of OutSystems. Even our older versions of the platform were made to easily integrate across your enterprise using API capabilities. And we also provide a lot of out-of-the-box connectivity to tools like Salesforce and SAP and other types of systems. So any customer can do that very easily. But we have, as I mentioned in the demo, a technology that we call Data Fabric. In the ODC console, you can create those connections. And again, it's typically you need to put a URL in, you need to put security configurations and passwords and things of that nature, any tokens you might need to use. You set up and configure that in your ODC platform, and then you can set that data source to either public or private, meaning private to this one application or a certain application, or public to my entire enterprise. So when I pulled that account table from Salesforce, that was because that particular table was marked as public for us to use. For any customer, OutSystems really makes it super easy to integrate across all your enterprise systems. And with ODC and Data Fabric now, you can use a single point of entry to mash up data from multiple data sources. Let's say you want to pull some data from SAP, some data from Salesforce, some data from a Microsoft Dynamics database or something like that. Using Data Fabric with ODC, you can do all of that very easily, and any customer can make those connections simple and fast in their environment.
Ed, this is really fantastic, really great conversation so far. I see time is starting to slip by, but let's see if we can squeeze one or two more in. One big topic that you brought up that we got a couple of comments on is OutSystems work with AWS and all the services that AWS offers. Maybe give us a recount here all in one place, the different services that you're working with and what kind of benefits that brings to the pipeline or the individual architect.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do, again, we built everything on AWS because we've been a partner with AWS from the beginning of our life as a company. And we use technologies like I mentioned, Cognito services. We use secrets management capabilities from AWS. We use their VPCs whenever we have to isolate, for example, compute resources. Those VPCs have various security rules put in place and firewall rules, everything like that. We use S3 for storage, and we use Postgres, as we mentioned, right? Aurora Serverless Postgres. Anything you can imagine in AWS that makes it possible to deploy and manage Kubernetes-based containerized applications and services will be taking advantage of those. And then going forward in the future, we're going to continue to expand on that. I also mentioned that at some point in the future, we are going to make it possible for customers to deploy on Azure or on GCP or on their own private hardware and infrastructure. The idea here is that we're trying to make it as flexible as possible by taking advantage of as many, in our current instance, AWS cloud native services as possible. So again, NATs and secure messaging under the covers, things like that. All of that's being built right into the platform. So we are very tightly coupled with AWS, but again, we will be providing versions of ODC for other cloud platforms as well as for self-managed customers.
Wow, that's really excellent. So you're breaking a little bit of new news here in the future there, Ed. Thank you for that. As we head into the Christmas season in 2025. And with that, I see time has about expired. But before you go, give us some ideas of some next steps of how people can learn more and maybe go hands-on with the OutSystems Developer Cloud. You mentioned that some of this is in pre-release and beta programs. I'm not sure how much of it is available to our attendees, but give us a sense of how we can really go deep with ODC and AI Mentor.
Okay, so right now I'd suggest first thing is if you want to see the rest of the demo, go to the YouTube video that I linked. That's about a 22-minute demo, and it goes through the process of building a workflow that'll launch that event that I was talking about in the demo. So you could get a little bit more of a full picture of the demonstration there. Secondly, I would say go to OutSystems and look for our educational opportunities. There are a couple of applications that our self-paced training will help you build, and with one or two of those, you can actually get a 10-day free edition of OutSystems Developer Cloud that you can build on for that particular learning path. So learning paths are available across our entire platform. I would suggest very strongly to go to outsystems.com, search for the learning paths. You'll be able to find those there to get your hands on it. I'd also say take a look at some of our use cases. We have a lot of customer stories available on our website. You can search by use case. And then, of course, feel free to reach out to us on our OutSystems website. There's a link that will say, hey, set up a demo, click this button, right? And if you click that button, we'll have one of our contacts reach out to you and we will set some time up to meet with you.
This has been awesome. Ed Aviza, Senior Solutions Architect at Outsystems. Thanks very much for a really terrific view of the power of integration and infrastructure and AI and all sorts of prompt-driven tasks to get our applications and workflow projects underway in a very seamless way and that are all going to meet our Enterprise Class 5.9 requirements. It's been a really great session, and I learned a lot.
Great, Vance. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, and thank you for having me again.
No, totally our pleasure. And thanks very much to the audience for really giving us some terrific questions to parse into all the components. There was a lot to take in at this session. So to help you do that, just a quick note, we've got some great links below. That's going to give you a lot more information in PDF and website blog format that'll give you a chance to read more detail about all these great features. And as you can tell, the innovation is just beginning here with AI into the Outsystems Developer Cloud. Here is a slide that'll take you directly to the Outsystems website. It'll give you those links that Ed mentioned for some extra learnings, but also some others we didn't have time for today. Really rich slide deck. We recommend you take a look at it. This slide will be at the very end, and all those links will be live. So thanks again to Ed, and audience, thanks again for really engaging Q&A.